The sun rose lazily over Lagos that Monday morning, painting the sky with streaks of gold. Ton adjusted his faded school uniform, the collar neatly ironed despite the thin fabric. As class prefect of St. Matthew's College, he carried himself with quiet pride. Behind his calm eyes was a boy who had learned early that survival required dignity even in dust. His mother sold fried plantain by the roadside, and every coin he earned tutoring junior students went into their rent jar. Edeora arrived late that morning in a chauffeur-driven black SUV. She stepped out in her spotless white blouse, diamond studs gleaming. The air seemed to still for a moment as the rich girl and the slum prefect met eyes. She flashed a polite smile before walking past, but Ton could tell she wasn't like the others. There was curiosity in her gaze, and perhaps a hint of loneliness. The class buzzed with excitement when Edeora was assigned a seat beside Ton for group projects. Whispers filled the air. What could the daughter of billionaire Chief Okafor have in common with the boy from Makoko? Ton tried to keep his focus, but her perfume distracted him. Edeora spoke with grace, yet beneath her polished accent, Ton sensed sincerity. She admired his intelligence and humility, traits she rarely saw in the polished but shallow boys from her father's circle. By the time they finished their first assignment, Edeora found herself laughing genuinely for the first time in months. Ton walked her to her car, the difference in their words clearer than ever, his worn sandals sinking in dust, her shoes clicking against the marble driveway. Still, in that quiet goodbye, something unspoken sparked, a connection neither could explain. Weeks passed, and the unlikely duo became inseparable. They studied under the mango tree after classes, where Ton would explain physics while Edeora teased him about his serious face. Their laughter carried across the schoolyard like a melody, drawing jealous glances. Edeora began sneaking snacks to share with him, even though he insisted he didn't need them. He didn't want charity, he wanted respect. For Ton, Edeora represented everything he thought was out of reach. For Edeora, Ton was a breath of freedom, someone who saw her, not her father's wealth. Yet both knew their growing friendship was dangerous. In Lagos, where status was everything, such bonds were often broken before they bloomed. Rumors began to swirl through St. Matthew's like harmattan dust. Edeora and the prefect, they whispered. Some laughed, others sneered. When the news reached Chief Okafor, he was furious. My daughter consorting with a street boy, he thundered. Edeora's mother tried to calm him, but his pride was wounded. He ordered her driver to keep watch and report any more meetings. Meanwhile, Edeora and Ton met secretly by the lagoon, the city lights shimmering in the distance. They won't understand, she whispered. Ton smiled sadly. They don't need to. What matters is that we do. But in his heart, he feared what her father's power could destroy. Exams approached, and both threw themselves into studying. Yet beneath the pages, their hearts were restless. Edeora's father had started talking about sending her abroad for university, somewhere befitting her class. She couldn't bear the thought of leaving without telling Ton how she truly felt. After school one evening, she finally did. Standing beneath the old mango tree, her voice trembled. Ton, I think I'm falling for you. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, softly, he replied, Edeora, love doesn't grow easily in the dust, but if it's real, it will bloom anyway. They held hands, silently defying the world. When Chief Okafor's driver caught sight of them walking home together, he wasted no time reporting. That night, Chief Okafor stormed into Edeora's room. You will not shame this family, he roared. That boy is beneath you. Edeora stood her ground for the first time. He's not beneath anyone, Daddy. He's kind, and he's honest. Her defiance shocked him. Furious, he threatened to withdraw her from school. Ton, meanwhile, received an anonymous envelope, a wad of cash and a note, stay away from her if you care for your future. He tore the note into pieces, but his hands trembled. The war had begun. Days turned into weeks. Edeora and Ton avoided each other in public, pretending nothing existed between them. Yet every evening, when the school compound emptied, they met near the library back door. There, under flickering light, they shared whispered conversations about dreams, books, and escape. Ton wanted to study engineering, Edeora dreamed of art. Together, they built castles in their minds, castles that might never exist. But secrets have a way of surfacing. One afternoon, a classmate snapped a picture of them together and posted it online. By nightfall, the image spread like wildfire. Chief Okofor saw it, and the storm that followed would change everything. Edeora's father barged into the principal's office the next morning, demanding Ton's expulsion. "He's using my daughter," he shouted. The principal, caught between power and fairness, hesitated. Ton was an exemplary student, respected by teachers. But Chief Okofor's donations funded the school's new building. His influence was heavy. Ton stood silently, humiliation burning in his chest. When Edeora appeared, her eyes were red from crying. "Daddy, please don't do this." But her pleas fell on deaf ears. "You're leaving for London next week," her father declared coldly. "And you'll forget this boy." That night, Edeora and Ton met one last time at the lagoon, the waves whispering promises neither could keep. The day Edeora left felt like a funeral. Ton stood outside the airport gates, unable to go closer. He watched her walk away, her hand clutching a small bracelet he had made from thread. She looked back once, tears glistening. He waved, forcing a smile, but his heart shattered quietly. When her plane disappeared into the clouds, it felt like the world had swallowed all color. Life went on. Ton buried himself in studies, winning scholarships and awards. But each night, when the city slept, he still heard her laughter echo in his mind, sweet, distant, unreachable. Ton graduated top of his class at university and earned a job with a major construction firm. From the slums to skyscrapers, he had fought his way upward. Yet, even as success wrapped him in new clothes, he carried the scent of dust within him, a reminder of where he came from. Edeora, meanwhile, built a new life abroad, but her heart remained tethered to Lagos. Fate, however, was not done with them. When Chief Okofor's company faced a financial scandal years later, the man assigned to lead the rescue project was none other than engineer Ton Adebayo. The stage was set for their worlds to collide once again. The boardroom was quiet as Ton walked in, confidence radiating from his tall frame. The years had been kind to him, his once bony face now strong, his presence commanding. Across the table sat Edeora, her eyes wide with disbelief. The air grew thick. Her father, oblivious, introduced him proudly. "This is Engineer Ton Adebayo, the man who might save us." Edeora managed a polite nod, though her heart raced. Memories flooded back, mango trees, laughter, promises whispered by the lagoon. After the meeting, she approached him quietly. "So, it's really you?" Ton smiled faintly. "Yes, Edeora." The boy from the dust didn't disappear after all. Chief Okofor was not pleased with the reunion. Though desperate for help, his pride bristled at the idea of depending on the same boy he once cast aside. "You can work with him," he warned Edeora, "but don't forget who you are." She nodded obediently, though inside, something stronger than duty stirred. Ton, on his part, refused to let bitterness rule him. He treated the chief with respect, focusing on his task. Late nights at the office brought him and Edeora together again, reviewing contracts, sharing laughter over coffee. It felt dangerously familiar, but this time, there was something deeper, a quiet maturity forged by years apart. The company's troubles were worse than Ton had imagined: corruption, unpaid debts, and sabotage deals. Edeora worked tirelessly by his side, impressed by his brilliance. Yet, beyond the work, her admiration grew into something undeniable. She noticed the way he still chose humility over pride, even when he had every right to gloat. But Chief Okofor saw the flicker between them. You mustn't forget your engagement, he reminded her coldly. Edeora froze. Her father had arranged to betroth her to a London businessman, Richard Adewale, as part of a merger deal. The cage she thought she'd escaped years ago had returned, gilded and cold. The news of Adeora's engagement spread quickly through Lagos high society. Magazines gushed about the union of power and prestige. But behind Adeora's perfect smile hid turmoil. Ton congratulated her politely, though his heart twisted with pain. That night, he stayed late at the office, staring out the window at the city lights, each one a reminder of the distance between gold and dust. When Edeora found him there, tears filled her eyes. "Do you hate me for choosing him?" she whispered. He turned slowly. "I could never hate you, Edeora. I just wish love was enough to change the world." Ton's success made enemies. Some senior executives, jealous of his rising influence, began conspiring to discredit him. A false audit report was leaked, suggesting he had embezzled company funds. Chief Okofor exploded in anger, suspending Ton pending investigation. Edeora tried to defend him, but her father silenced her. "You always choose that boy over your family." Humiliated, Ton packed his desk in silence. As he stepped into the elevator, Edeora ran in, blocking the doors. "Please, tell me this isn't goodbye again." He looked at her with tired eyes. "Maybe goodbye is the only thing our words allow." The doors closed between them like fate sealing its verdict. Weeks later, the truth surfaced. One of the corrupt executives confessed under investigation. Ton had been framed. Chief Okofor was forced to issue a public apology, though pride made it sound hollow. Edeora visited Ton, who had refused to return to work. He was helping rebuild homes in the same slum where he grew up. When she saw him teaching children how to read, her heart broke and healed all at once. "You never changed," she said softly. "No," he smiled, "I just remembered who I am." And in that dusty corner of Lagos, surrounded by laughter, Edeora realized she had never stopped loving him. Chief Okofor's empire continued to crumble. The London merger failed when Richard's company withdrew, citing instability. Adeora's engagement was quietly called off. Her father, once powerful, now faced investigations of his own. In his pride, he refused Ton's renewed offer to help. "I don't need your charity," he backed. But his words rang hollow in an empty house. Edeora stayed by his side, nursing him through sleepless nights of regret. Yet, even he could see what he had once denied. "That boy, he's a better man than I ever gave him credit for." It was the closest he would ever come to an apology. Months passed, and the city began to heal from the chaos. Ton's firm won national acclaim for rebuilding Makoko into a model urban community. During the inauguration, Edeora stood quietly among the crowd, her eyes glistening as she watched him speak. Afterward, Ton approached her with a smile. "I used to dream of building bridges," he said softly, "but I realize now the bridge I truly needed to build was between us." He knelt before her, holding a small ring, simple, silver, and shining like truth. "Edeora Okafor, will you walk with me between gold and dust?" Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "Yes." Their engagement stirred headlines again, but this time, the story was different. The city that once mocked them now admired them, a union of humility and grace. Chief Okafor, frail but proud, gave his blessing before passing quietly months later. His final words to Edeora were simple: "Be happy, my daughter. I was wrong about what truly matters." At their wedding, held under the same mango tree where their story began, Edeora and Ton exchanged vows before family, friends, and the spirit of Lagos itself. Love, tested by pride and time, had proven stronger than status. They stood together, gold and dust, finally as one. Years later, life was full but never easy. Threats, jealous rivals, and political complications challenged them repeatedly. Amora, their daughter, grew wise and empathetic, absorbing lessons from both parents. Tond and Edeora faced floods, financial sabotage, and public scrutiny, yet they endured. They often returned to the mango tree, reflecting on the journey from youthful longing to mature partnership. The tree had witnessed their love, separation, reunion, and triumph. As the sun set behind the city one evening, Tond and Edeora watched Amora play in the fields they had helped rebuild. "Gold and dust endure," Edeora whispered. Tond kissed her forehead. "And our love will always bridge worlds." Their story, once secret and fragile, had become legend, a testament to courage, resilience, and enduring love that transcends class, time, and circumstance.